SMI starting lineup. Presented by Team
got another
SMI.
headset. I see it.
This evening, Matt Skinner and company will give you all you need to know to get you ready for Friday Night
I need to
Lights.
tuck in the front of my.
Program is
Well,
also
screw it.
streaming live on
I'm
the
not.
Sky Sports
Screw
Facebook
it.
page.
You guys are looking cute.
Starting lineup is presented by Team
Thanks,
SMI.
buddy.
Also brought to you by State Farm Agent Amy Brown, Edward Jones of Carrollton, Douglasville, and Villa Rica, Osier Apparel, Southland Insurance, West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, and West Georgia Technology. Now, let's go live on the air and on the Craddock Sports Facebook page to the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station with your host, Matt Skinner.
3, 2.
And welcome into not the Mustard Seed Cafe. We're here at Grisham Stadium. A little bit of a different setup. We miss our folks over there at the Mustard Seed, but we're so happy to be here with you tonight. Just got done calling the West Georgia Large School Middle School Championship game between Carrollton and Central. A hard-fought battle, but congratulations to our good friend, Coach Nathan Horsley and his Central Lions. They prevailed in the end 8-6 alongside Clay Harden, Joel Brock behind the camera. Billy Lindell will join us real soon. I'm Matt Skinner. How was that game? It was pretty fun, wasn't it?
Defense
Yes.
and turnover. What was there, six turnovers?
5 turnovers for Carrollton, and then Central had the one. So the
6
fumble.
turnovers and defensive struggle, and the number 8 kid for Carrollton kind of took over there in the fourth quarter. But
Kelvin Hill had a great second.
Central with
yeah.
a big defensive stand there at the end of the game to seal it.
Yeah, and the biggest thing in the 8th grade, biggest thing in the younger kids' ball that I see is turnovers. I mean, turnovers in the kicking game. Whoever can execute that better usually is going to win the football game. And Central or Carrollton about got themselves off the hook there, but Central really hunkered down on defense towards the stretch.
Well, you don't really execute in the kicking game. You just try to manage it and put yourself in the best position possible. Both teams did a pretty good job in the special teams.
Yes.
But defense was the key to the game tonight. Both teams looked really good on defense, and Carrollton didn't do themselves any favors with all those turnovers. But, you know, they're 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and you can't expect them to be perfect, all the time.
Yeah.
They're going to make mistakes.
That little quarterback, J.R. Harris, only a 6th grader.
Wow.
For Carrollton, who made the big pass down the stretch. And both these teams are pretty young. They're going to have a majority of their kids, obviously, but everybody has – you're going to have majority 8th graders, but they got to be pleased with what they got coming back for next year.
Carrollton's starting quarterback was out, right?
Yes, Andrew Albertus got hurt early on in the season, so they went with they've gone 3 quarterbacks the rest of the way.
If it was me, I'm putting 8 in the Wildcat, and we're going to get a heavy dose of him, and good luck stopping him if it's me.
Yes, and here we go. As always, last week's scores, Carrollton over Cale, 34-14. Heard County put it on Jordan. I'm ready for that Pulpwood Classic tomorrow night. 49-14 over Jordan. Bremen 20-0 over Temple. That was a hard-fought football game. Chapel Hill came back to beat Central 35-27. North Cobb Christian 31-0 over Mount Zion. Unfortunately, Haralson County's undefeated season is over. They lost 32-15 last week. Hard-fought ball game. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. Christian Heritage and Bowden. Y'all were at that game. 28-14 was the final. And then Hiram at Villa Rica. Villa Rica lost to Hiram at Hiram 41-3. So let's break down some of these games real quick. Let's start off with the game you guys had. Bowden and Christian Heritage. They came out a little slow in the first half. Had some things going and then just kind of stalled. But you take over. Talk about it a little bit.
Well, I think I told y'all Tuesday night when you and Jimmy were having your Facebook Live show, Christian Heritage posed some problems for Bowden because they were faster, and that's Bowden's strength is their team speed.
There's not going to be very many teams faster than Bowden. That's
right.
saying something.
Christian Heritage was.
Yeah.
This week I like their matchup against Darlington a little better. Darlington's bigger and more physical, but I think Bowden has a lot more team speed, which is going to play to their advantage.
Yeah, and that's the style of football that they want to play, that nasty, gritty, I-formation, wing tee kind of football. So hopefully Bowden can get themselves back going. It's always tough to go play at Darlington. I mean, Bowden, they've lost the last 2 meetings. It's been kind of a up-and-down series. They've had some losing streaks. They've had a couple of winning streaks, but majority, obviously, Darlington has owned the series. So hopefully Rich Finley can go up there and change things this Friday night.
Casey will remember his name. I can't remember his name. He's sitting right there, so you'll ask him. What was the kid's name for Christian Heritage? Gage Leonard. And he was one of those kids that I don't care what team it is in the state. If he's on your team, you got a spot for him. At Christian Heritage, he was everything. He was the best player on defense. He was their best athlete on offense. He was on all special teams. And Bowden really didn't have an answer for him.
Yeah.
He was just all over the place. But I don't think Darlington has that kind of a guy. They're more of a big, physical up front. They got a kid going to Georgia that's a big, huge lineman.
He takes plays off, though, and you'll see that Friday night. He's nasty, but he takes plays off. The guy, the walk-on, I can't remember his name. Y'all be able to figure out who it is a better high school football player.
I'm not going to that game, remember?
Oh, no. Y'all are not going. I'm sorry.
We're going to the
Y'all going to the
Classic.
Pulpwood Classic. Aaron and Greg will see that. I'll have to tell him that because obviously he's 6'5". What Ratledge is his name? Tate Ratledge, 6'5", 320. Your typical SEC offensive lineman, and yes, he's nasty. Every 2 out of 3 plays, he's nasty. But he takes
2 out of 3.
Yeah,
and you want a kid like that to be nasty. 3 out of 3.
Yes, and he almost decapitated a kid from Mount Zion earlier on. That's the game we got to go see him play in. So
speaking of Mount Zion, Billy, we'll get with him later, but he got some interesting news from Mount Zion today. I'll let him.
Okay,
I'll
awesome.
let him break that.
They've got a big
game.
They got a big game against Gordon Lee, and with those power rankings, you never really know who's in or who's out. So Mount Zion season is still up for grabs right now. You still be playing.
It's hard for me to see a one-win team get in.
Yeah,
I think they got to pick up. I think they got to win out.
I think they're going to win their crossover game. If they finish the last 2 spots in their region, Pinecrest and the other team on the other side of the region are not good at all. And I think Brad can come up with a plan to beat them. So if you beat Gordon Lee and then you beat your crossover opponent, give you 3 wins, you got a shot in the dark, which is all you can ask for with the record in the season.
And if you go off a record, and if they miss out on the playoffs based solely on record, I think there'll be some teams in the playoffs that's not as good as they are.
Yeah. You got you're talking about Gage Leonard from Christian Heritage. Well, let me tell you, Haralson County had their hands full with Ladd McConkey, hitting McConkey's younger brother.
Yep.
He returned punts, kicks. He was on defense. He had 7 total touchdowns against Coca-Cola Creek. 2 on offense, 3 on offense, 2 on defense, and 2 on special teams.
Yeah, and he's their starting quarterback. He never comes off the field.
Never comes off the field. He was a very impressive kid. Haralson County took the lead 15-14 off a pick 6 by Mark Harris. Took it back 60-some-odd yards. And I thought, man, Haralson County got the momentum back because they stalled on their drive, and I was like, ugh, not looking good. And Hint McConkey made his first mistake of the night and threw it right to Mark Harris. And then after that, they rolled right down the field, 75 yards, put it in the end zone, and then an onside kick, and that changed the whole ball game. They kicked a field goal, made it 24-15, and then North Murray just kind of dominated the fourth quarter, unfortunately. But you can't get down if you're a Rebel. You've got Calhoun here in a couple of weeks, and you say, well, if they lost to North Murray, they're going to lose to Calhoun. Well, North Murray beat Calhoun 31-7. And I know I don't like to compare scores, especially that was the first region game of the season, but that was at Calhoun. Calhoun ain't lost since I was 3 years old. 4 years old. I was 4 years old the last time Calhoun lost a region game. So there you go.
Matt's not that old, y'all.
Yeah.
I just throw that out.
I like to make fun of them for being older than I am.
Older than you, but not old yet. I don't look at games like that. Calhoun beat them by this much, or they beat Calhoun by this much. I look, teams match up different. Mm-hmm. You look at, Cedartown Central matched up with Cartersville.
Yeah.
Well,
that's all.
Played them tight, and then Cartersville goes and ranks 56 on Sandy Creek. It's just, matchups are different.
Yeah, last year that's really what it was. Haralson County was able to run. They were able to run the ball on everybody last year except for Calhoun. They did a great job, had a great game plan. Of course, they had a linebacker that's playing at Clemson now. That helps. And having you losing 18 starters off a team that went to the Final Four, that hurts. So Spectre, that's exactly you know who it is. Exactly right. And his younger brother, I've only watched one Clemson game this year. And the game I watched, Spectre forced a fumble. His younger brother plays receiver. They run the Hunter Renfro pick play, and he dropped a touchdown pass in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, those Spectres, I saw both of them play at Calhoun, and both of them are special.
Yeah, they're both very good, and they'll be playing for Dabo for 4 years for sure. Carrollton with a huge region win. They've kind of wrapped, we think, unless Hiram, we got to talk it last night on the show. I just don't see Hiram beating Rome, Kell, or Carrollton.
Hiram, I put them in the same boat as Lamar County. They're pretenders.
Yeah, pretenders.
They hadn't played anybody yet, if we're honest. They hadn't. They're undefeated, but they still have Carrollton, Kell, and Rome, and that's the big three. If you're undefeated and you have played at least one of those big three, you got my attention.
Yes, absolutely.
But you hadn't played one of those three yet, I'm not paying you any attention. You beat one of those three. Who they got this week? Kell?
Yeah.
Beat Kell.
I think Kell or Rome. They got one of those guys.
You win this game Friday, then you got my attention.
Yes. and we will definitely have some discussions because that's going to make things real interesting in that region.
I think the scenario that somebody brought up the other night was if Carrollton loses to Hiram, but Hiram wins out against loses to with the Kell.
Kell or
I can't
Rome.
remember the scenario.
Kell or Rome.
In that scenario, it was going to be Hiram, Carrollton, Rome, and Kell would be the 4 seed.
How would you like to play Kell as a 4 seed?
That would be unfair to some 1 seed from another region somewhere.
Well, and another thing in this region that Carrollton matches up with, Region 5, there's actually 2 schools that have already had to disqualify games for the GHSA. Columbia, I don't want to start guessing. Columbia, I think, was one of them for sure. I can't remember the other school, but 2 out of Region 5 had some ineligible players and they had to disqualify some games. So
either way,
how
about a number 2 seed from some region is going to host either Kell or Rome?
Yeah,
and at home and have a loss opening round playoff loss at home. How about that?
That's going to be something else too. But Trojans have a much-needed week off this week. Chaz Chambliss went out with a knee injury. I probably wouldn't play him until playoffs started. No. Jared Nett, another great linebacker, he went out as well. And then another young man who we thought broke his ankle. I can't even pronounce his last name. It's got like 20 syllables in it. It's crazy. But they thought he broke his ankle, and they went back, and he's got the Tua Tagovailoa ankle problem instead of a broken ankle.
You going to do surgery on him?
I don't know. We'll see. I haven't heard.
I only think the surgery, too, had is speed up recovery time.
Recovery.
One thing I'll say about Carrollton, it's impressive that they won by 20 and only had 25 yards rushing.
Yes.
That blew my mind.
Well, the defense, man, when you force turnovers and you're keeping and you're just stopping the other team, I mean, eventually you got an offense as good as Carrollton should be, they're going to eventually hit. And the first half, what was the most impressive thing, they were up by, 13 in the first half, and they had negative 4 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's impressive that they can do it without the run game.
Yeah, but a great week last week, or kind of an up-and-down week. We're trying to get some teams back. Hopefully the Bowden Red Devils can bounce back. Haralson County on the road against Ringgold, and we'll talk about those matchups here a little bit later on. Hey, we've had a great kickoff to our Team SMI starting lineup show. When we come back, we're going to bring in one of our favorites. Oh, we got a score update real quick. It's 8-8. Heard County just scored. Thank you, Greg Holcomb. 6:26 left to play. We'll keep you updated on the small school championship. Billy Lindahl next, right here on the Team SMI starting lineup show.
City Station, a multi-purpose community
all 7.
CVS on Maple Street in Carrollton was conceived by Southern Hills Christian Church with a goal.
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Perfect.
City Station offers preschool services, college student housing, the Mustard Seed Cafe, an indoor playground, fitness center, and basketball court, as well as state-of-the-art conference rooms available for your next event. You matter, and City Station exists to serve you. Come check out City Station in person or find us online at citystation.org and Facebook.
Join the 7 million investors who know the difference. For a proactive approach to your individual financial needs, contact an Edward Jones financial advisor near you. Call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Regardless of what the market is doing, we stay in touch. Even when the market's down, we'll call you up. Proactive, not reactive. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones in Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your car. It's the car you worked overtime so your team could drive himself to football practice. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. My team and I understand that your car and home are things you worked really hard for, and we're here to give them the protection they deserve. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica, or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
Did you know that Osier Apparel offers all-inclusive fundraising web stores? Donors order direct from the store, freeing you from handling money, getting product to donors, keeping track of ordering, accounting, or delivery. Osier will work with you to set up your store. They'll even help with your design. From tote bags to t-shirts, headwear to outerwear, an Osier fundraising website puts the fun back into fundraising. To find out more or to set up your store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
At West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com.
To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage,
30
or
seconds.
fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
Back in 3, 2.
Welcome back in. It's the Team SMI starting lineup show. We got Joel Brock and David Brock with us. Good to have that team back together.
I'm a little disappointed. David cut his hair.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Joel shaved his beard.
Yeah.
What's up with that, buddy?
Everything you never wanted is coming true.
No. Never shaved
you
your beard.
literally compliment his beard every week.
Every week.
Compliment David Brock's
Every
hairstyle
week.
every week. And here we are.
And they go cut it, and Joel shaves.
At least David's was just a trim. He completely
I don't
shaved.
get it.
And it's about to be No Shave November. Let me tell you what the folks, and I think a lot of cops are doing this, but I cover the Bremen City Council meetings. Chief Pesnell and those guys are awesome. They're right now, they've been growing out their beard since October. They're going all the way now to the beginning of the year. The city council voted it in that if they shave, they got to pay $50 to shop with a cop. How awesome is that?
Well, the sheriff's office here in Carroll County does right the opposite. Yep. You pay $75 and you don't have to shave till like February the 1st or something. When I worked there, I wish they'd have done that because I'd have definitely paid the $75 because I hated shaving every day. But and they do it.
Do you have to keep it? Do you have? Can you?
Yeah, it's just got to. You can't go.
Amish.
Yeah, you can't go all out to here. But everything goes to charity, and they do it to raise money for one of the sheriff's charities he's involved in. So it goes to a good cause.
How about we welcome in our guest? We're sitting here talking about beards and hairstyles. He's got a nice little beard.
He's got something like a beard.
It's Billy Lindahl. How's it going,
What's
buddy?
up, fellas?
He is one of our studio producers for Graddick Communications, one of the hardest working behind-the-scenes men in all the business. He's done a great job.
They're all hardworking.
Yeah, everybody's hardworking. But this man gets out.
He's better, though. Yeah. He's the best, though, because he's in my ear on Friday nights. That's why he's the best.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate that.
Ouch.
David.
Oh, sorry about that, David. He's the best on Fridays. You're the best on Thursdays.
Anywho, you got us some notes where you want to start off. You start off at whatever game you want to.
I mean, it's up to you guys. I just have it in alphabetical order. So,
well,
I mean, you guys pick what game you want to go with.
Well, since you're doing alphabetical order, what about Bowden?
All right, let's go with Bowden.
Bowden playing Darlington this week. It's going to be a tough one. Back on the road again, but you know that they're not going to come out flat 2 weeks in a row. Surely not.
Right, and Bowden all time is 7-14 against Darlington, and the last win against Darlington was 2008, back in the Dwight Hosteller age. So that's a little bit of history. Hopefully, and like I've talked to Clay earlier in the week, I think Bowden actually has a better matchup against Darlington as opposed to last week, and I'm agreeing with Clay on that. But the thing is, history is not on their side because they've never beaten Darlington at Darlington.
Wow.
Well, here's what I was looking at. Christian Heritage had this team speed to overwhelm Bowden's team speed. Well, Darlington's not going to have that much team speed. So Bowden will be the fastest team on the field, which works to their strength on offense and defense. So Darlington's one of those hitch-in-the-mouth, grinded-out kind of power football type teams, and Bowden don't play that kind of game. So Bowden's going to be on the edge, outside, quick hitting, and I think they match up a whole lot better with Darlington than they did with Christian Heritage.
Right. And the other thing that I think what Bowden needs to do is they need to get their offense going early and often because the games that they've really struggled with, Christian Heritage, they struggled with Valwood, they struggled with Gordon Lee. They ended up, only scoring 2 touchdowns, each game. the other games they've scored 3 or more, and they need to get that third touchdown in order to actually get going.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and that's an interesting stat because they need to score 21. I mean, 21 is kind of the magic number for them. I feel like.
I think 20 was the early mark. I mean, they won against Gordon Lee 13-7. They won against Valwood 14-10, but they struggled on those games. They came back and beat Valwood at the end with that last touchdown, and Gordon Lee, I think they did the same. They were down 6-7.
One thing with Bowden is you've got a lot more than one thing to watch on Friday for Greg and Aaron. Seeing Darlington, they have a little more depth. I mean, they're rolling kids in and out. Like I said, Ratledge don't play every play, even when he's not on the field. They're rolling off another big body. Bowden doesn't have that luxury as much, so that might be something to watch. Or at all. So, I mean, you're going to have Stevens and you're going to have Garrett Gray. They're going to be on the field the entire game.
And according to the Maxwell projections, they're actually 2 touchdown dogs in this game.
Screw Maxwell projections. I hate Maxwell. Lauren Maxwell, how did you come up with these stupid projections? Real quick, while I have it on my mind, Villarica just scored. The number 4 seed, guys, they have rolled back, and they're up on Heard County 16-8 with 2:36 to go. Thank you, Greg Holcomb, for bringing that to our attention. But we're looking forward to Bowden. That game's going to be on KISS 102.7 right here. So tune in. Kickoff beginning at 7:30 kickoff. We'll go live about 7:15.
Right.
Let's keep. You said alphabetical order. We'll go Bremen, Lamar County next. Me and Clay. Clay started it first, and I'm on the train with them. They are pretenders. Right? As of now.
Fakers.
They can become contenders if they beat Bremen on senior night Friday.
Right, but I really think that it's going to be a difficult challenge for Lamar County. Bremen's defense, since they came out of non-region play, has been stellar. They've actually gone from they've held opponents to just over 6.5 points a game and scored 31 points a game in region play. They're 1-0 against Lamar, and the last year they won 35-7. But granted, that was a much more. It was a deeper team last year, I think.
In Barnesville, last year.
Well, last year. I mean, this year Lamar County started off. Was it 5-0 before they played?
Yeah,
Callaway?
they beat Mount Zion 22-6. They played
outside of Mount Zion. They played a bunch of private eight-man football
pretty
teams.
Much.
And that's how they got to 5-0 or 6-0 or whatever it was before they went to Callaway. If I'm one of those kind. If you want to impress me, go play You don't even have to play a schedule as hard as Heard County did, but play somebody.
Even Bowden, they played Valwood. Valwood had won 5 state championships, out of the last 6 years, and had Valdosta kids playing on their team.
Man, what a huge win for Bowden.
Yeah, and Bowden went down on the road and beat them. Bremen, they continue to get better on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's like you ask them, can you get any better? And they put up a goose egg against a Temple team that, yes, they're kind of one-dimensional running the football, don't have a lot of answers at the quarterback position, but you got a 1,000-yard rusher in Philip Johnson. And they held them, 52 yards or something like that? Incredible.
That's Bremen's key. That's Bremen's strength is their defense.
Yeah. Their defense is definitely their key. And the other key that I think for Bremen that I think Rooster thinks is actually one of their keys too is their special teams. He told me earlier in the season when they played Cedartown, he said they've got the best punter kicker in the state of Georgia.
Evan
and
Fuller.
as long as they end a drive with a kick, he said they think they have the best opportunity to win the ball game.
Yeah, that's a fair statement. Evan Fuller's pretty doggone good. He got the kicker jinx last week, though. He's trying to break the school record. Had a PAT blocked and missed a 27-yard field goal just off to the left. And I blamed it on Mitch because he said, "This is for the record." He's tied the record. This is for the record. But blocked. I love you, Mitch. I had to do that.
You don't call them out right in the middle of it.
Yeah. But Evan Fuller will definitely get that record this week. Let's move on. Our C teams, Carrollton and Central, are off this week. Central tough loss last week. Carrollton with a win over Cal, as we talked about earlier. Heard County?
One thing about Central, I think that loss unofficially eliminates them from the playoffs.
They got to beat Troop at Sandy Creek and pray.
They need help. Well,
you got to win out and have help.
Yeah.
Right. And a couple things about Carrollton. They're 12 points per game on defense this season, which is pretty impressive. The last time they were 8-0 was 2013 when they went to the state championship.
I
and they
remember
were
that team. Then we got embarrassed
points
by
per
Sandy
game.
Creek.
Yeah. And they were
We
13-2.
We changed the offense the week before the. Don't even bring. Why'd you even have to bring
Sorry.
that up?
Old
We changed
wounds.
You bring the. You changed the
Old
offense.
wounds.
You changed the offense the week of the game.
Hey, now
never
now
run that
gouge
at
your
all.
finger down in it.
The other thing with Central, they've got last year they went 12 points per game, and now they're up to 22 points per game, which is phenomenal. Every loss this season, minus the one loss against Rockmart, has been a one possession game. So
Tough losses, man.
Darius Smiley has got this team moving in the right direction, and I can't wait to see what this team is going to be looking like in the next couple of years.
The only bad thing about that is they got 17 seniors that start.
This group of seniors right here, it's the same age as my oldest one. I've been saying since they were in the 6th, 7th grade, when this team gets to be juniors or seniors, they'll be special. Well, this group's fixing to be gone, and let's see what steps up and takes their place.
The Pulpwood Classic. Now, if you go back, obviously these teams have played a long, long time. But when, of course, Callaway was Hogansville, I'm sure you got I know they played 22. This will be the 22nd time that Callaway and Hurd have played.
Correct.
But Hogansville and Hurd have played how many times?
An update here from Greg Holcomb. Hurd has the ball 1st and 10 on the Villorca 13 with 1:23 to go.
Wow. Keep us posted, Greg. Awesome.
So they're 9-12 against Callaway all time. That doesn't include the Hogansville.
Yeah.
The last win at Callaway was in 2012, and something about Hurd County that's actually been really impressive. And you can talk to this about Tim Barron. Tim Barron, when they started out 0-4, they were at 11 points per game, and they were allowing 41 points per game from the defensive side. They've swapped that literally. It's 41 points per game since region play started, and only allowing 11.
Well, and I've always said he starts off kind of slow, getting things figured out. Then come playoff time, he's rolling like a well-oiled machine. And for some reason, he has had Callaway's number the last couple of years.
He has.
And they were underdogs both times going into each of the last 2 years and won it on at the end of the game.
Yeah, they had Quincy Shepard last year with a great catch from Huzzy. What a great call. I think one of Mitch Gray's best calls. And one of the highlights of our season last year. I know Hurd won state championship, but if Hurd doesn't win that game, they're a 2 seed. They're traveling and playing a lot tougher schedule. They got Rockmart in the second round.
That game was the turning point of their season.
Yeah.
That was the game when they really realized, hey, we're pretty good, and we got a shot to win this whole thing.
Yeah.
Their remaining schedule is the number 1 team in the region currently in Callaway, the number 3 team in the region, Lamar County, and the number 4 region in the region in Bremen. So they've pretty much got to go through the gauntlet for the region schedule in order to get to hopefully a home game for them.
And they're prepared.
And I believe those games against Hateville Charter and LaGrange and Rockmart and teams like that has got them in a position, if not to win out, I figure they'll win 2 out of these next 3 games.
One thing, one of Hurd County's opponents this year, Hateville Charter, they actually tied last week. I don't know if you saw that. They tied, 21-21 to Alatoona. It was a non-region game. Non-region game.
Altoona's 7A, right?
Yeah, it's 6A. I think there might be 6 going up to 7
Big
next
school.
year. Big school, and it was 21-21, and they just were done. It was like the 26th tie since 1950 or something.
I guess they agreed that we're not going to play overtime.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no reason to, get you. I know you want to win. I mean, I'm playing, obviously, but Hateville Charter might play for the state championship this year in 2A.
Yeah, the game didn't count.
If you lose Marcus Howard or any of those D1 kids, it's going to be a long season.
Yeah.
Moving right along, we've talked
Harrelson County and Ringgold.
Let's go. Yeah, Harrelson County's going to get back on track this week. Ringgold not very good.
Yeah, they're not good at all. And I know you hate the projections, but they're a 30-point favorite.
That's probably close to accurate.
Billy lives and dies by the max.
I don't live and die, but I at least want people to know what they are.
What the experts say. What a guy behind a computer screen says.
They are a 30-point favorite. They won last year in their only matchup against Ringgold, and it was 30-14. Ringgold's allowing 40 points a game right now, and they're going up against a Rebel team right now that's averaging 32.5.
If Harrelson scores 40 points on you, you really are terrible because they only get the ball 4 or 5 times in the game.
Yeah,
you're only going to have 4 or 5 possessions when you play Harrelson County. Harrelson County had the ball 5 times on Friday night. If you score 40 points, you're terrible.
Ball control.
Yeah, ball control. That's
this game to me is more like the Cross Keys game for Bremen earlier in the season because we all know that Haralson County is not really paying attention to Ringgold. They're looking ahead to
Barely nobody's
Calhoun.
bad as Cross Keys.
Oh no, Cross Keys won.
I would like to see one of these two middle school teams we saw tonight play Cross Keys.
Bad news. Cross Keys actually lost that game that we said they won. Max, your boy Max Preps wrote the score. Somebody reported the score as like 67-41 that Cross Keys won. For like 2 weeks we were celebrating at Coach's Clinic. We were giving Rooster Russell a hard time saying, hey, Cross Keys won a game, and he actually came back this week and said they reported the score wrong and Cross Keys lost.
And I told you the night you reported that, there's no way Cross Keys won a football game.
Well, the team that they played is also, granted, the only win they have is against Cross Keys.
Good God.
So what was the score?
It was 25-9. Cross Keys
that
scored
sounds
9.
More like it.
Cross Keys scored
like
9. I think that's what the score. Don't hold me to that. I feel like it was like 25-9. Oh man. Let's continue. Haralson County, the last road game, hopefully until the playoffs for them, and we hope they don't have to have a road playoff game. We hope they're playing at home. But
if they beat Calhoun, they have a really good shot of getting that number 2 seed in the region. And
they're going to beat Murray County the last game of the season.
Yes.
Murray County is about like Ringgold.
Right.
So if you beat Calhoun, you're going to have a home playoff game for the first time in school history.
Right, and the good news for Haralson County is Calhoun's at home this year, as opposed to going up to Calhoun.
Yes.
So that's the game they're looking forward to, and I think Haralson County will probably be working a lot on Calhoun this week in practice, and obviously next week.
What next? I guess
Mount Zion.
Mount Zion. Yeah.
So I got a text earlier from a coach.
I meant to say before you got to Mount Zion. Breaking news.
Yeah, my bad. I talked to a coach earlier in the evening. Mount Zion's fully healthy. Everybody is back.
First game since game 1.
Everybody is back.
Let's see if they can convince the power rankings to let them in.
Think about that. This is the first game since game 1. You've had all your starters that you started the season with.
In the Darlington game, they had 9 the original 9 out of the 11 were not playing, and 6 out of the 11 on defense were not playing. Right. In the Darlington game.
That's tough to overcome for anybody.
And they kept it. I'm surprised they kept it that close.
They're 6-11 all time against Gordon Lee, but they've got 5 straight wins against Gordon Lee currently, and I think
because of Brad Gordon.
Well, Brad Gordon has 2 of those wins. So
I guess Keith Holloway's got the others. Yeah.
So if you look for, hopefully with all of them back, I feel a lot better about them going into this game and winning. Granted, it is on the road, but
Gordon Lee, give them credit too. They gave Bowden all they wanted. I know it was homecoming week for Bowden. Gordon Lee, I don't think is very good, but they played their best game of the season against Bowden. They're going to be at home, and Gordon Lee is kind of on that fringe of being in the playoffs, out of the playoffs too. So that's going to be an interesting matchup.
How does everybody overlook Keith Holloway?
Yeah,
he's the one that turned this program around.
He did.
Mount Zion's held them to 2 touchdowns a game since 2012. So if they can just keep doing that and actually get their offense moving, because right now they're actually the last 5 games has been 6 points or less for the Mount Zion offense. So they just need to get something going, and I think getting fully healthy and actually getting back a full week of practice, it'll actually happen.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to put in a kid that's maybe a JV kid, but then you're taking kids that have never played football before. That's what Mount Zion had to do. They had to go get kids that had never played football before. I mean, you took kids off the basketball team, and they look good in the uniform. No matter how good you look in the uniform, they ain't never played before. So I just give credit to. And I know that he would defend it and say, man, we got to play better, we got to do better. But if I want anybody to change in the program, it's Brad Gordon.
Yep.
Got a final out of Franklin.
Villarica won?
Let's see. Let me read it just like he typed it here. Hurd scored with 46 seconds left, went for 2 to tie the game up, was stopped on the 1-yard line. Villarica wins 16-14.
Congratulations to the Villarica Wildcats on the small school championship. They were not even in the playoffs 3 weeks ago. They won on the last week of the season to get in, then beat Bowden to the number 1 seed, and then beat Hurd County. Hats off to them for doing that.
It sounded like it was. Sounded like we had 2 great games tonight.
Yep.
I wish we were in a position where we could play them both on one field, kind of like a doubleheader.
Yeah, and that's what we're shooting for next year.
Kick it off at 5 at a neutral site.
Yeah.
And then play the second one at 7.
That would be awesome.
We're talking with Billy Lindahl, one of our great studio producers, hardest working man in radio behind Steve Craddock for us right now. because this man works his butt off for us on Friday nights. David Brock back in the studio, Joel Brock behind the camera, Clay Harden and Matt Skinner here with you. If you're listening here on KISS 102.7.
I want you to refer to him as Beardless Joel Brock. So I'm so disappointed.
Let's talk about the Temple Tigers. They took a tough loss. They're after Mount Zion, right? Alphabetically?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes,
what I
yes,
was thinking. I was trying to count down all the teams because I knew we only were talking about 7. But Temple fell to Bremen last week, and they have to run the gauntlet to make the playoffs.
Well, they've only got 2 games left. They're 4-4 right now, so they've got Spencer coming up this week, and they're a 3-point favorite at home against Spencer. Spencer has
a 3-point favorite.
That's the Maxwell projections.
They'll beat Spencer by 3 should beat Spencer by 3 touchdowns. Spencer's been playing basketball since August.
They are 2-5.
How do you come up with a 3-point? Oh my word!
They are 2-5 against Spencer all time, and right now, what's really impressive to me is the current 3-game increase from last year. They only won 1 game last year, so Scotty Ward's already got this team up.
They also
up to
played
4
7
wins.
quarterbacks last year too, which that didn't help things much. And they found a running game in Philip Johnson, who's taken the state by storm. We are truly blessed, and I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but we've got 4 or 5 kids in the top 20 in rushing in the state.
Right.
Gage Stevens, Clay Hyde up at Haralson County, Philip Johnson, obviously. Philip Zachary's getting his name up there a little bit. So, I mean, we've got some kids that are really putting up some big numbers, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, please do. Philip Johnson's been a workhorse for Temple, and I think after talking with Rooster Russell last week before the Temple game, he was like, we're just going to load the box and just stop them.
They put 9 in the box. 9 in the box.
The thing with Temple, they've got Spencer coming up this week, and then they've got their bye week, and then they've got Lamar County, who you've already said that's a pretender.
Pretenders.
So
now you've got 2 weeks to prepare for the Pretenders.
Yes, you've got 2 weeks to prepare for the Pretenders, and if Temple's good enough, and I think they are, they can actually finish out 6-4.
Be the 4 seed and play
Rockmart. Congratulations.
Yay!
Who they played in their scrimmage, by the way, and that didn't turn out very well for them.
That didn't work out really well.
And last but not least,
Villarica. They're a 17-point favorite at Woodland. On the road, they're 17-point favorites. I know you're excited about
this. This may be a good game.
Woodland's
awful.
Woodland's awful.
This may be a good game.
I think Villarica's had some injury problems the last couple of weeks. They don't have an offensive line. I mean, they're mixed matchings. I feel bad for Coach Nord and them. They're mixed matching a lot of kids, and it just really depends. Philip Zachary, if he plays, I mean, Woodland can't tackle, point blank, period.
Yeah.
I watched Carrollton ran 7 plays on offense and scored 5 touchdowns, I think, something like that. So
yeah, Woodland's pretty bad, and they're at the bottom of the region for.
I don't know if it's going to be 17. It might be like 11 or 10, maybe Villarica.
Like I said, this might be a good game.
If you go to Bartow County to watch that game, God bless you.
They are 6-1 against Woodland all time. And the thing with Villarica, though, and I think it's just patience. You got to preach patience for the Villarica faithful, because right now it's rough. They're in region play. You're averaging about a 21-point margin of loss, which isn't great. But I really think Woodland's coming up. They may have a shot at the last game of the season too. I can't remember who it was, but I in my mind earlier when I was doing my notes, I was like, you might pick up 2 more wins.
No, they've already played Cass, I think.
But it's another region opponent in Carrollton Villarica's. So I think it'd be. I think they pick up a win on Friday, and I think moving forward it'd be interesting because they've got 3 games left.
One thing that favors Villarica is they're going to stay in 5A, more than likely. They're not going to move up. They're not going to have to be in Carrollton and Roan's region next year, and that's going to benefit them tremendously and give Coach Honeycutt another offseason to see if they can get some kids rolling. I mean, middle school team just won the small school championship. I know it's the small school championship, but the resiliency that they had, they weren't even in the playoffs, and then they won their last 3 games, and they're the champions. So, I mean, obviously you got some stuff hopefully coming up through the ranks. And
Christian Honeycutt's a great coach. He came from Grayson, and for the past 2 seasons he was 20-5 in the past 2 seasons with the Grayson Ram team. So.
One thing that people forget, though, if all those great Buford teams, he was the offensive line coach. He was the guy making those big guys work. And I remember when I went to offensive line camp 2012, he was one of the coaches down in Cochran, Georgia. It was 95 degrees and practiced on a dirt field. It was terrible. But he was my favorite coach by far. I mean, there were coaches from all around the state, some college coaches that were there. It was the Mike Hodges camp, and Honeycutt was by far my favorite drill to do. I think we had like 21 stations. and he was by far my favorite. So just give him time. He seems to be committed to the program. Just give him some time. Hopefully they can also. You got to have players. I mean, you get a coach is only as good as his players are. And that's the thing right now.
And you're bringing up some 8th graders who just won a championship. So I mean that's going to help. I mean maybe not as much, but it's going to help.
Billy?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being on with us.
Appreciate
you want to add anything else before?
No.
You're going to have the Pulpwood Classic tomorrow.
Awesome.
Be producing that game, so I know you're excited about that.
Oh yeah, it'd be good to hear Casey and Clay in my ear all night.
That's fun. I mean, hearing Casey and Clay. It's great radio. If you ever have the chance, keep listening to Casey Bass and Clay Harden call a game.
I will say this: we probably are better calling blowouts, because then we can kind of roll the sleeves up and
have some fun.
Talk about what we want to talk about.
Wrestling.
Anything. We may talk about aliens or.
I wasn't in the studio, but David Brock was the night that you guys had Bremen and Cedartown when we had that lightning delay, and you guys talked about apple pies. You talked about. I was sitting right next to you, and I'm like, "What is going on?"
Actually, we were talking about my mother's pound cake.
Oh, that's right.
Miss Ann makes a very good pound cake. It's very famous.
We were talking about my mother's pound cake.
That's right. Yeah.
Billy, thanks again.
No problem, guys.
Hey, when we come back, it's our classic college football talk. So stick around for that right here on the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show on the Graphic Sports Facebook page and Kiss 102.7.
Looking for a fitness experience that isn't your typical big box gym? At City Station Fitness, we understand going to the gym can be intimidating, and we want to change that. City Station Fitness, a proud supporter of the Team SMI starting lineup, makes your fitness experience fun and personal, and we promise to know your name by your second visit. Give us a try, and your first workout will be on us. City Station Fitness, behind CVS on Maple Street. For more information, visit citystationfitness.com and check us out on Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor gets to know you, your personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones, Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your home or your car. It's the hours you spend in your kitchen mastering your legendary wing recipe and packing the family in the car as you head to the high school tailgate. While other companies just call it bundling, at State Farm, we see your home and your auto as the time and memories you make with them. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown. I understand what your family, home, and auto really means to you. Come see me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, on South Candler Street in Villa Rica to make sure you're getting the insurance protection that you deserve.
Osier Apparel makes it easy for you to outfit your employees in company attire. The Osier staff will work with you to set up a company store online with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by
At
their
West
office
Georgia
on
Plumbing,
Avenue C
Septic,
in
and
Carrollton.
HVAC, a family-owned and operated company, we understand the importance of keeping your family comfortable and home functioning properly.
We are available 24/6 for any and all repairs and installations. We honor all military, first responders, teachers, and senior citizens with a 10% discount.
Give us a call at 678-708-8883.
And check us out online at westgeorgiahvac.com and westgeorgiaplumbingandseptic.com.
To God be the glory.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage,
30 seconds.
fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
3, 2.
Back here on the Team SMI starting lineup show. I know not our most professional show. We're here at Grisham Stadium up in the press box. We appreciate them for allowing us to stay a little bit later tonight. They haven't turned the lights out yet on us, so that's a good thing to know. Joel Brock and David Brock, our producers here on site and back in the studio.
Beardless Joel Brock.
Oh, man. Let's take a look at some NCAA football news and notes. We got SMU and Houston playing right now.
Wow.
You gonna get home
I don't
and
know
watch
how
that?
I can not go home and watch that.
Sonny Dykes is, I think, 7-0? I think SMU's 7-0. Yeah, 7-0. Might be 8-0 after tonight because Houston's tanking.
Yeah, they're
like 8 of their players played the 4-game minimum and entered the transfer portal.
And
How
then-
smart!
and
They
then-
lost the first 4 games, and they're like, screw it, we'll transfer somewhere else.
Will Hall sent them. He's the one that sent that program down the tube when he crushed him at Tulane.
Oh yes, a game I will be watching. Appalachian State 6-0, undefeated, baby, on the road,
Or as
taking
Casey,
on South Alabama.
Casey calls them Crap State.
I'm sorry, my best friend coaches there. I got to cheer for him. I cheer for Georgia Southern too. And I want to go to the Georgia Southern App State game. I could get tickets, and I want to do a big road trip. But they play next Thursday at 8:00.
Yeah,
on Halloween. We got Team SMI show. We can't.
Yeah, do it from the car.
Or no, I think they might
on the way up there.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, I also had to apologize. Your Badgers lost.
Yeah, I got a new team now.
Who is it?
LSU.
Yeah. The Badgers lost to Illinois on a game-winning field goal. For whatever reason, Wisconsin threw the ball on 3rd down and threw a pick instead of giving it to the best running back in college football, Jonathan Taylor.
Billy's still standing right there. Y'all can't see him, but I don't know. He's from here. He went to school at Central.
Yeah.
He's a Georgia boy.
Sure, yeah.
He's an Ohio State fan. How's that happen?
He liked playing with who was the guy, Maurice Claret on NCAA probably when he was growing up, or Troy Smith. Were you a Troy Smith guy? Yeah. He probably just played NCAA football, got Troy Smith, and you could run around in the backfield and not get tackled
He said
at
his
all.
grandparents are from up there.
That's fair enough.
No, it's not. I don't give you any right to be an Ohio State fan. Hey, my great grandfather was from England, and I'm not a big Manchester United fan. How about that?
We want to also thank Billy, though, for tagging us on our weekly tweets. Greg Waldrop and Aaron, each and every week he shows us love on the Twitter. So.
Yeah, I can look down at my phone, and I'll have 15 Twitter notifications, and I
They're
go,
all from Billy.
Billy's done tagged me on something.
Wisconsin and Ohio State, the big noon kickoff tomorrow. It was going to be College Game Day until Wisconsin lost, and now instead they're going to South Dakota State.
I still hope Wisconsin beats him down because I hate Urban Meyer, and I know he's not there anymore, but I don't like anything he had anything to do with.
Yeah, Ryan.
And I hated Ohio State before Urban Meyer got there, and then when he got there, I hated him even worse.
Another 12 o'clock game. I'm hoping for the Fighting Bill Snyders to beat Oklahoma tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. K-State against Oklahoma, that won't happen.
Is he still there?
As far as I know. No, he's not. He retired last year.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Who's the coach at Kansas State?
He's
we
96.
Got Billy on it. We got Billy on it. He's probably around the program, but he's just not.
Yeah, he's 90. He's literally 96 years old.
Iowa plays Northwestern. Who cares? The game that everybody wants to watch. Your team now, the bandwagoner LSU, taking on Auburn.
Chris Kleiman is the K-State coach.
Thank you,
Chris
David
Kleiman.
Brock. Chris Kleiman. I've never heard of that man before. in my
Go
life.
Tigers, and we spell it Geaux. Go Tigers.
Weren't you wearing an Auburn shirt yesterday when you walked in?
I may have been wearing an Auburn shirt.
Yeah, you were wearing
yesterday.
an orange Auburn
I told
shirt.
you I got a shirt and a hat from every team in the SEC.
Jeez.
Former head coach at North Dakota State who won 4 national championships.
He had the best quarterback in the country.
Well, there you
Anybody
go.
could have won 4
There you
national
go.
championships then.
David just told us that the coach for Kansas State came from North Dakota State.
Yeah,
so,
he had,
which is actually going to be the site of College Game Day.
He
North
had
Dakota State,
what's
South
the good
Dakota
kid's
State.
name?
Carson
from
Wentz.
He had Wentz for 4 years. Anybody could have won with that team.
Texas TCU at 3:30. Once again, who cares? Texas should have lost to Kansas last week. Maryland, Minnesota. who once again Minnesota's
undefeated.
Minnesota's undefeated. Who
Yeah.
have they played?
Powerhouse. What are they? The Golden Gophers.
Maryland's got to be one of the most disappointing teams. They hung like 70 early on in the season against somebody, and then they ain't done nothing since.
Temple.
Yeah. No, they beat They scored 62 against Syracuse.
And then Temple beat them.
And then Temple beat them the next week. You're exactly right.
Hey, is Minnesota the Golden Gophers, Billy? Okay. Who are the Screaming Eagles? Somebody in that conference?
The Screaming Eagles were Minnesota State from the TV football coach.
Okay. Sorry.
He's talking about a TV show. Oh, my word.
I want a real team?
Oklahoma State versus Iowa State. That won't be anything to write home about.
Get to the SEC. That's really
Arkansas taking on Alabama. The spread is 31. I'll take the under, even though Arkansas is terrible because Tua turned the ball over is not playing.
Yeah, I wonder if little brother gets the playing time.
He better because Mac, whatever his face, is not good.
10
against Arkansas, he'll probably look very good because he can throw a slant more than likely, and those guys can take.
Tua's not playing until LSU.
Michigan, Notre Dame. Who cares? Clemson, Boston College.
Who cares?
Late game. Late game.
What's my West Coast game of the week?
Going to be fun. Oregon, Washington State.
I'm a huge Mike Leach fan.
I love Mike Leach.
Huge Mike Leach. I wanted Mike Leach at Georgia Tech when O'Leary.
Yeah.
Not O'Leary. I'm way back when Paul Johnson left.
Yes. And that is Clay's team. Georgia Tech is Clay's team.
I'm embarrassed to tell
anybody. He's a football fan. He has one team. It's Georgia Tech, but he's an overall football fan, which we love.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to tell anybody I'm a Tech fan this year.
Utah plays Cal. Utah might win the Big South or big Pac-12 South or whatever it is, or North, however they have those divided. It's looking like Oregon, Utah is who's going to be in the Pac-12 championship.
They're still the odd conference out.
Yeah.
They won't have a team in the playoffs.
And they should never have a team in the playoffs.
I agree with that. Neither should the Big Ten. But it should be 2 teams from the SEC and 2 teams from the Big 12 every year. And maybe 1 team from the Big 12 and Clemson.
What about Clemson? Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, Clemson's just an SEC school disguised as an SEC.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Don't give them that much credit.
All right. Well, we're wrapping things up here on the Team SMI starting lineup. Next week is Halloween. Ooh, it's spooky.
Can I say one thing?
Okay.
Since last week, we mentioned we had Greg Holcomb on talking about Lee Maxwell, who's still in the hospital. He thought he was going to come home today. He's still weak, so they didn't let him come home. But they're having a benefit November the 9th, and donations are still coming in. Really picked up this week, so anybody that's donated to that, thank you for donating. If you still hadn't donated and would like to, get in touch with Greg Holcomb at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. If you monetary
bring stuff by the station too. I mean,
we'll get it to him.
We can get it to Greg Holcomb. Bring him to Marine South.
Bring them at Marine South. I'll get them to him.
We will find a way. Any kind of donations, monetary, or if you have a cool signed guitar. I mean, whatever. Anything that can be a silent auction item that's worth something.
Signed footballs from Nick Chubb, maybe anything like that.
Yes. So. Clay, any final thoughts? You ready for tomorrow?
I am ready to go to LaGrange and see my fourth.
Eat at Rogers Barbecue.
Fourth, I don't eat anymore at night. Fourth consecutive Pulpwood Classic I will be in attendance
Well, I know that Dan and Mason will need to eat something.
They'll eat before they know my schedule. They'll eat before we go.
Go to Rogers Barbecue, man. It is great. And I know I'm advertising for them, but they're in LaGrange.
And then Saturday morning, we are making the road trip to Livingston.
Go to Dreamland.
Alabama's
at home, so you got to be careful.
We're gonna hit it just right, like 10:30.
Okay, right when they open. Right
Alabama time.
That will be great. Right when they open, and enjoy you some ribs. For Clay Harden, for Joel Brock, for David Brock, for Billy Lindahl, for everybody that made tonight's broadcast possible, I'm Matt Skinner saying so long, and don't forget to do your best and let God do the rest right here on Kiss 102.7 and our Graddick Sports Facebook page.